Well, hello everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having an incredible start to your weekend. My name is Jeff Street. I teach people how to make money from home online. And today I want to have a conversation with you about rejection. I want to have a conversation with you about your goals, your dreams. And I want you to think about today, how many times are you willing to persevere through the word no in search and in the hunt of going out and achieving your dreams, achieving your goals. And I'm just wrapping up this book right now, Rejection Proof by Zhang. And one of the chapters I was reading just yesterday reminded me of one of my favorite stories when it came to persistence that I've ever heard in my life. But I was reading, Zha's book. He did the 100 days in a row of rejection. And as he started to get more and more popular for what he was doing, so many people were writing to him. They were requesting to him, listen, I've got a challenge for you. I've got something for the rejection challenge. And there was a gentleman that started to become a big fan of his, and he was following everything it was that he was doing, and he was commenting on all of his different posts and all of his different blogs and all of his different videos. Like, I've got an idea for you. I've got something for the next rejection challenge. And, he sent his idea to, Zha, and Zha was like, no, I'm not interested in that. No, that really, I don't want to do that. But the gentleman followed up with them and followed up with them. And then on the 45th time, Zha said, yep, I'm going to do it. That's going to be my next challenge. Because of how persistent that gentleman was, he respected his desire. He respected his dedication. He respected his persistence and finally said yes. And then afterwards, he realized, how much rejection is somebody willing to go through to really go out and hit their goals? Like, does somebody have a certain amount of no's that they get where they just stop? Does that exist? And it reminded me of the story of a gentleman that moved to Hollywood, pursuing his dream as an actor, and he went to audition after audition after audition, pursuing his dream. He was going to make it in Hollywood, and there was a common theme at the end of each audition that he did, and they kept saying, you know what? You're too short. You're too ugly. You're not going to make it here. You should just go back home. But the gentleman wouldn't give up on his dreams. And he kept doing it. He kept doing it. And things got so bad for him and his wife financially that finally he actually had to sell his wife's jewelry just so they could keep surviving him. But at the same time, he wouldn't give up on his dreams. And it got so bad, they ended up living out of his car. They ended up literally eating out of a Burger King trash can. But he wouldn't give up on his dreams. It got so bad that at one point he actually sold his dog. And there he was, literally at one of the lowest moments of his entire life. At one of the lowest moments of his entire life, he walks in on a bar, literally can't afford to buy a drink. So he asks the bartender for a cup of water. And there he is at the bar, drinking a cup of water, broke, financially destitute, determined to not give up on his dream. And he looks up, and what's on TV that night? But a boxing fight. And as he's watching that boxing fight, he gets a vision. He's got a story in his mind. And all of a sudden he leaves the bar and he goes back and he's literally sleeping in his car with a notepad and a pen. And he's writing the script to this vision that he had for a movie. And he completes the script and he's so excited. He's got it. He's found it. And now he knows he's just got to go out and do his presentation. He's just got to go out and present that script to other people, because certainly there's going to be a film producer that's going to buy that script, and that script is going to change everything for him. So he goes to producer after producer, and people are saying, no, I'm not interested. No, that'll never work. No, nobody's ever going to like that. And it got to the point where he was interviewed later on down the road, years later, and he said, I went to 100 different appointments. They said, there's not even 100 producers in Hollywood. He said, I know. I followed up with a bunch of them multiple times because I wouldn't give up on my dream. And finally, he met somebody that, liked what he was doing. They said, listen, I see this script. You've got this movie. It's called Rocky. But listen, we'll give you $30,000, for the script, but you're not going to be Rocky. And he had already made up his mind he was going to be Rocky. And they said, listen, $30,000, but you're not Rocky. And at that moment, that $30,000 would have changed everything for him. But instead, he said, I'm Rocky. And he gets up and he leaves, and he kept doing his presentation. But that same company, they called him up. They said, listen, we got a deal for you that you cannot refuse. $100,000 but you're not Rocky. We'll give you, in fact, this is, years and $100,000. That was like $1 million down. He's like, no, I'm Rocky. They're like, you're crazy. He goes, no, I'm Rocky. And he kept going. And finally they called him in. And they said, listen, we got to meet you there. Listen, here's the deal. You don't have to be, or you can be Rocky, if you want to be Rocky. But here's what we're going to do. You're Rocky. We'll give you $30,000, I think was the amount, and a few small percentage points on the back end of the movie. And you can be Rocky. But if you're Rocky, we don't think that it's going to go out and work. And that gentleman, Sylvester Stallone, said, I'm Rocky. So they gave him his initial, check, and he went out and actually bought his dog back. And the guy that he sold his dog to and the dog were actually in the movie. But here's what happened. Rocky became one of the highest grossing films of all time. And Sylvester Stallone made millions and millions of dollars of residual income. Matter of fact, he's still getting paid today, on that movie based on the work that he did decades ago. And here's what I'll share with you. He was Rocky, but he never ever was willing to go up and give up on his dreams. Og Mandino said it best. He said, I will persist until I win. And if you're listening here today and you're getting some value, drop a comment that says, I will persist until I win. Drop a comment that says, I'm Rocky. Click the share button if you think that somebody else would get value out of this, talk here today. One of my favorite stories of perseverance, persistence was Sylvester Stallone and what he went through to go out and eventually, produce or start one of my favorite movies of all time, the movie Rocky. So guys, click the share button again if you think somebody else could get something out of this. Peter Pasternak, I see you, buddy. You're Rocky. I love it. Jose Ramos, one of my favorite stories too, buddy. One of my favorites of all time. And again, my name is Jeff Street. I teach people how to make money from home online. Find a purpose, guys. Find a goal. Don't have any certain amount of no's that's going to go out and stop you. Persist until you win. Have an incredible rest of your weekend. God bless, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.